Hello, everyone, and welcome to Keepers of Humanity. We are delighted to bring you the voices of Indigenous wisdom keepers, spiritual guides, healers, shamans, revolutionaries, creatives, and visionaries who hold the keys, codes, wisdom, and secrets that are needed now to give you access to the eternal cosmic consciousness on how to break free of old stagnant patterns, on how to transform them into new perceptions that can show you what is possible here in the miracle realm of Earth, so that together we can construct a bright and vibrant future with its foundation firmly rooted in joy, love, compassion, and truth. I'm Dr. Marie Mbouni, and I'll be your host and guide for this conversation that I am having today. And I'm so honored and delighted to present Whitney Freya. Whitney has been my friend and soul sister for so many years, and she is one of the people who inspires me in my life, and she is one of the people I turn to when I too need guidance or support. Whitney, welcome to Keepers of Humanity.
Oh, Marie, I am so thrilled to be in this conversation with you. Thank you for the invitation.
And today we are talking about how creative frequency expands your consciousness. And I want to dive right in. Whitney, could you let our audience know what you mean by creative frequency and how you receive that? Because I was present and I would like you to share that.
Absolutely. It's funny, right? We all know how there are these moments where even familiar concepts like shift and come into even greater alignment. And this new kind of awareness I have around the creative frequency and why having a creative practice is so important was given to me just while I was traveling in Australia. And, I have been offering others access to remember into a sacred and personal painting practice since 1996. And I have been continually for 28 years now surprised and amazed and humbled and in awe and wonderment around the personal transformations and shifts people make in the art that is their life as a result of the painting practice. And I had just said, like a week before, to someone how I was still kind of in mystery around how this all worked. And then what I received was that um, coming from this place of everything's energy, right? Everything is energy and vibration. And I'm going to kind of assume that you watching this are highly engaged and interested in how to expand your own consciousness, how to take back more and more of your creator self. We are fascinated by possibility rather than like tradition. And so the creative frequency is the energy of possibility, of change, of new beginnings, new life, rebirth. It is the realm where we can tap into the quantum field. And so, how do we get into that creative frequency? Right? Is an easy way is doing something creative, playing music, getting outside in nature as well, because Pachamama is the grand creatress, of course. And so when we enter into a creative activity, we are choosing, whether we're aware of it or not, right? We're choosing to align with this frequency of creativity, which is not actually about creating product or a song or a choreographed dance. it is about aligning with the truth of who we are as creators and the fact that we're creating our reality in each and every moment. It's just whether we're doing it with or without awareness. So, those of us who are interested in expanding this consciousness are highly served by choosing to enter into that creative frequency with a creative practice. Because when you're in that energy, it's so much easier to get to know it, to integrate it, and to expand it. So now, like, I always knew this, right? Like, I go to the canvas to heal, to declare something into being. But now I understand that I'm going to the canvas to literally bathe myself, align with, hop on that creative frequency, because I want to be living from that place, right? Not just painting, it's living.
I love that. And I have personally experienced this. I want to bring two things here. The first one that I hear you talk about is the choice, right? Really placing ourselves in a space where we get to choose versus things happening to us. Because, everything that's happening in the world, I know because I see it in my clients where they start to shrink, they start to give into fear. And I wanted you to share with us how, when we tap into our creator self, we can then start to make choices that are so aligned with who we are and why we are here.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's interesting because one of the first things I realized when I started teaching painting, um, which the word teaching kind of makes me chuckle because I opened an art center with zero art background. Like, I had not painted on a canvas until weeks after I opened, even. And so what happened is I was forced to get out of my own way and become a channel for this creative frequency, basically, in hindsight. And and one of the first things that I understood is that contrast is vital to any piece of art. You think about a piece of music, like, it has its moments where it's faster, maybe there's more of a beat, and then other parts where it's quieter. We love that. Like, it's a part of every written piece, painted piece, musical piece. And we learn through contrast, which means that this human journey that we're all on this journey from being the victim to being the creator. And being the victim is not bad or wrong. It's the contrast. It's where we source the the intention and the wisdom to step into our creator selves. So you can't really get to the creator self until you've been in the victim mentality, right? So it's like there's no good or bad, right or wrong with this. When we're in the victim mentality, we're giving our power away to other things. So, as an example, in the experience of painting, when I'm painting with someone who's in the victim mentality, which, again, perfect, because then I get to hopefully guide them into that creator mentality. They're saying things to me like, it's not working. And I'll like saddle up next to them. I'm like, where is it? Like, who is it? Who is this thing that's made the canvas all muddy, or has created a drawing that maybe you don't like, right? Um, and I'm like, you are the creator, right? You get to choose. So in that moment, it's like, what do you want? Oh, well, I want it to be less muddy. I want it to be brighter. I want it to be thinner. It's like, okay, now I can help you create what you want. It'd be like, when you go to paint, you choose which color you're going to put on the canvas, right? You get to choose. So shifting, and this is what I love about this painting practice, is it provides an experience and it makes visible all of these, like, principles of consciousness and energy and spirituality. Living in harmony on this planet truly requires this journey into choice. And at the canvas, while we're painting, it's very obvious I'm choosing which colors I put on my palette. So think of this symbolically. Colors. What are colors? Colors could be words that you're speaking and thoughts that you're thinking. Colors could be relationships. Colors could be habits or patterns that you have. So you are choosing the colors you're putting on your palette. And then you're choosing, once again, which ones you are creating your life with. And you can choose differently. right?
Mm.
So this is so I just love that we can learn these things playing with color, right? And so that relationship and that relationship to contrast and to our victim selves and sending gratitude to the times we've spent in the victim mentality. I am just emerging from a lesson of giving away my power to that kind of authoritative masculine energy. Um, and I'm so grateful for that learning and intending really consciously to fully emerge, right? And I'm doing that with the help of my painting practice to anchor that in and integrate it.
Thank you so much. For those who don't know, I'm actually right now in Whitney Freya's studio, and I've been immersing myself in my painting practice. And you said something that I want to touch upon, which is this creatorship and choice. What I first realized is that our creative frequency practice is actually a tool for introspection, for self discovery. It's like for, it's like initiations, right? Micro initiations, because before doing this, I didn't even realize what was underneath, right? So, right now, we're talking about the victim or the contrast or whatever, but before you step on the canvas, you don't even know what's underneath, right? And it's been so profound for me to discover myself this way.
Well, and it's important to note for you listening that like 90% of the people that I get to play with are brand new to the painting practice. You know, a lot of them might have said something before we started working together, like, oh, I'd love to be creative, or I'd love to paint, but I can't. And because it's so removed from your normal, from your routine, from your typical pattern of thinking and pattern of thinking around who you are and what's available to you, when you step into this creative practice, you disrupt all those patterns and all those formerly kind of rigidly held beliefs. And it's almost instantly dissolved. Those rigid beliefs are almost instantly dissolved when you touch the brush to the canvas with the intention of getting to know yourself as an infinite being who's here to co-create the art that is your life with your soul. And then the transformation that comes about as a result, because physiologically the brain chunks information. So when you um, like transmute something that you've been telling yourself all these years that you couldn't do into something you can, it has to go back and reevaluate everything. Because you're so objective, because the painting has nothing to do with your work, has nothing to do with your past, except for it being something that you couldn't do. Because there's so much contrast, it creates this alchemy, and totally unexpected results happen, and they're always in alignment with that creative frequency, which is what is wanting to be created into the experience of being human, or a sentient being on this planet.
Thank you. And the other thing that I love that you said, but it went kind of fast, which is that we get to channel. One of the things that I consciously, intentionally do is to strengthen, my channel. Because when we are painting, the way Whitney talk about, which is the creative frequency, we're not trying to paint a flower or an apple. We're literally channeling, right, this wisdom, this consciousness, our soul, the divine nature, higher power, whatever you call it, right? That's what being a creator means. Like, we were born, we came here on earth to create. And I want to shift gears because we had a amazing conversation this morning about, the ancient future,
Mm,
right?
Mhm.
being the ancestors of the future. Like, how, as keepers of humanity, can we use the creative frequency to create what we want in the future?
Right. We're all very interested in ushering in this new paradigm, right? Where we are living more from love than fear, which is so available to us. We're on the cusp. I know we are. Yeah. So Maria and I were talking earlier and talking about the theme of the summit. And I'm like, oh, I have to bring this up. So when I opened my art center in 96, it was called the Creative Fitness Center. And I offered all kinds of art classes. I didn't really teach any of them. I had teachers who came in. Um, and what happened is uh, just the intention of me connecting art and life rippled out, even when there were more traditional art teachers teaching the classes, right? And so I'm constantly in this state. I was 26 years old, 26, 27. I was 26 when I opened. And I'm constantly being made aware of how things are happening, not as a direct result of like spoken words or action. They were just happening. And I was so caught up in the excitement of making the arts available, taking it off the pedestal, making it available to everybody. And then the real life results, the practical life results that my clients were experiencing. They'd come to our class and just be this constant, like, guess what I did? I've been meaning to do it forever and I finally did it. And it would be something at work or a personal thing, or they're moving to the ocean, or they're changing jobs, or, they're starting something new at their work, or they had a breakthrough with their teenager, whatever it was. And together we're like locking eyes and being like, oh my gosh, it's art. It's all coming from this painting class. And so meanwhile, I'm reading and tapping into the kind of this art world, right? And Nashville, Tennessee, where I was living, was opening a new art museum, and they made this big deal about hiring this museum manager. That's not the right word, but anyway, from like some big Boston East Coast museum. And he's talking about like, we really see this art museum making a difference, and people will leave changed, and they may even go home and redecorate their homes. And I'm just like, what? Like, are these experts not understanding the connection between art making and life making, why the arts are here, which is to create balance. So we're not just these machines ticking things off the list and producing widgets, that we're here actually to also be in this relationship, this co-creative relationship with the infinite. And so then I downloaded this ebook from DL Zeta, who I would have to Google. I don't know if she's still out there or not. But I read in this ebook that some of us are very intentionally back from the future. That, just like we've had past lives, we have future lives. And when we come back from the future, we come back to intend to accelerate this timeline to, say higher timelines. And when I read that, everything made sense. Which cracks me up because, like, I come from this very kind of more logical, practical existence and family and culture, like most of us did, right? So the fact that that helped me make sense of my life kind of made me chuckle. But it helped me understand why I think the way I think about art. And it's because in this future reality where we're heading, and you don't have to scratch the surface too hard reading about that creativity is inseparable from this future reality. Everyone in our future reality recognizes that to be well and to be whole as a human on this planet, you have to have a creative practice. It doesn't mean you have to paint, but in some way you are honoring and nurturing that connection to your creative spirit. It's absolutely inseparable. So yes, and you watching, like, when have you had those moments of like, why doesn't everybody get this? Like, why does it feel like I'm the only one who sees this? And it very well could be because you're back from the future. Why not? What a fun, story to tap into, which I totally believe is reality. So yes, thank you for bringing that up.
Yes, of course. It's these liminal, intangible feelings we can get, right? Where there's a knowing within us, but we can't logically explain it. And so, I really invite you, if you have this kind of, thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations, like pause and
Mhm.
explore them, without being too attached, like, oh, I'm from the future or I'm from the past, but really, like, what is it, that we are bringing here today to make this a better world. And as I actually think about that, I want to continue exploring these different ways that, we are being called to evolve at this time on earth. And one of those is, the growth of artificial intelligence, right? I remember I had a deep journey where, I was seeing artificial intelligence, and it was being shown as a new species that we as humans are creating. And it's like, how are we teaching this new baby that we are creating, right? And I remember that, as I was sharing it, different people had different reactions, right? Some people went, were going into fear and shrinking. Oh my gosh, she's going to take over the world and we're all going to die. And other people, we're shifting in a new way of seeing things. And I know that you and I have been exploring the possibilities that are offered by AI. Could you share something about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So um, what I believe is that everything in life is offering us a symbolic message, right? Or offering us a mirror with which we can get to know ourselves better. And I feel like the mirror that AI is holding up is to remind us that we also, again, are infinite beings with access to the infinite, as opposed to the opposite side of that pendulum, where we are so dug in and so convicted about what we are good at, what we're not good at, what's available to us, what is not available to us. And I've seen this in my work. I work with the teaching around all of us being multidimensional. And I believe that teaching as well is to help people, all of us, understand that just because our historical selves have not experienced something up until now, or have not experienced ourselves as skillful or talented or able to do, fill in the blank, that does not mean it's not available to us. It's an aspect of us that has just yet to be invited onto the stage, so to speak. So AI is yet another symbol and mirror that we have access to this infinite possibility as well. And then as you were just talking, I was thinking of the truth that like Masaru Emoto discovered and has researched and written about the consciousness of water and how we can influence water molecules with our thoughts and words and music. I've also learned and read how our relationship with others is more determined by how we think about our relationship with them and them than what they think about us. So we are projecting our stories and our expectations onto life, and life is responding in like. And so if we become fearful, if we nurture fear around AI, then guess what? It's going to get scary. If we nurture love, thank you, AI, for showing us what's possible. Thank you for allowing us to go deeper, to explore more authentically, to overcome obstacles. I use AI in my Women's Synergy Collective. That's a collective of women entrepreneurs, and I'm encouraging them to use ChatGPT to stimulate the ideas for your next email marketing sequence, right? Maria and I have been playing with Midjourney, which is a visual AI generator. And I'm taking visions I have in meditation. We're taking ideas of, online programs and teachings and experiences and putting them into these highly potent images. And as soon as we look at them, it's like it makes it more and more real. It's like the images are encouraging our humanness to continue to take steps forward, to get to know it, to understand it as an energy, as a paradigm that's wanting to come in and needs us to create it into reality. So everything has a shadow and a light, everything. And so the question is, are you going to focus on the shadow and the scary parts and what's going wrong? Or are you going to focus on the potential? And this is something that we can each do alone in our homes on a daily basis that absolutely creates change and helps to expand this possibility of this new earth and the new humanity that we're all anxious to experience and can
Mhm.
experience in each and every moment within ourselves. So yeah, uh, the AI presence I find super, super fascinating, and I, barely scratched the surface. And I probably won't go too deep into it, at least immediately, but understanding like how can I access more and more and more of what's available to me naturally. I can just imagine the Dalai Lama being like, yeah, chat GPT or meditate, like either way. It's available both ways.
Absolutely. I really love this because, Whitney and I have been, like she said, I actually recently had a vision that I received, from my next program. And it was like the words, the impressions, the symbols, everything I was seeing. And Whitney is, really good at this. So I was like, can you please help me? And, we spent some time entering what we received from the mystery realm and entering it onto the prompt and communicating with AI. Like the first image generated was like, oh no, not this. And then that conversation of adding things, subtracting things, and we came up with incredible images that then can anchor whatever it is that you are creating, right? Because the eyes, the words that we have are so powerful, and they can imprint and create this feedback loop where we keep being encouraged, you know?
Absolutely. I'm being reminded and prompted to just put the spotlight on the power of symbols and imagery to help us balance ourselves and create more. You said something earlier about, kind of checking in with the logical mind, getting the inspiration or these ideas or channelings, and then kind of checking in with the logical mind. And I've understood that in so many different ways, how we will get inspired. And ever since we were kids, we might get this wild and crazy idea. And then it's like we go to our parents, or at the dinner table, like, can I do this? And they're like, no. And so we've been taught to take that inspiration, like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. When you see something new and you get all that energy, and then we're literally conditioned to turn to our logical, linear, rational mind that is past, future based, that it sees itself as separate from everything and is fear based, to ask it, can I do this new, exciting thing that I've never experienced before? And our logical mind is like, this is how I see it. The logical mind's like, I wish you would stop asking me if you can do these new things that have you super excited, because all I can say is if you've never done it before and if there's any risk of failure or making a mistake or looking imperfect, all I can say is no. And you're asking the wrong part of you. You've got your creative, intuitive, right hemisphere, oneness, love based mind. That's who you go to take the lead. That inspiration you just received, that's the go ahead from your highest self. And the logical mind is there waiting to be like the project manager, like, yo, logical mind, I need time, I need money, I need connections, I need whatever it is you need to create this dream, co-create this dream into reality, is what its job description is. The enlightened left brain, for lack of a better word, is your servant. not the master. Your heart is meant to lead. And so symbols and images, because they're not the written spoken language, and we weren't raised learning the language of sacred symbols in this modern era, symbols have way less baggage and can actually contain the energy of your dreams or desires in a much more pure form. And you can use those symbols to keep yourself in alignment, in coherence with the frequency that you're choosing that is going to lead you to that desired future reality. Um, and so I'm thinking of Metatron's cube, which is the symbol that I was given around an energetic process that became my latest book, 30 Days to Unstoppable, where the message I got was, you all want to remember right now how to care for yourself as vibrational beings. And then the Metatron's cube was given as a structure and a container in the book, as a big guided meditation on how to use that symbol to remember this state of union that we are in this co-creative relationship. We are light made visible. We are subtle and the very physical. We are heaven and earth. We are the union of the infinite and the finite. And from that place, consciously choosing and nurturing the energies that we want to move forward. This is what humanity is heading into, and what is being seeded now, and has a lot of us very excited.
Very, very excited. I'm very excited about this. Say, Whitney, would you be, I'm sure that everybody listening right now is like popping just like I am, right? I get very excited about this because, that frequency of hope, possibility, potential, infinite, right? It's so exciting. It's like the permission slip. It's like go and play and explore. And so I was wondering if you could guide us in a micro meditation journey to, you know, tap or discover or even experience this creative frequency.
I would love to. And as you started to say that, I was like, you didn't prepare me for this, but that's fine because I never prepare for these things anyway. And I'm looking at the lotus flower behind you, right? So allow me to offer you all a guided meditation to connect you to that symbol of the lotus flower and what lotus flower medicine is, right? So you can close your eyes or not. I have to because I um, channel this kind of experience. So the first step when you see a symbol that maybe is capturing your attention or showing up a lot, right, is to create space, even if it's driving or doing the dishes or taking a shower, and just invite the symbol into your mind's eye, right? Just bring the lotus flower now into your awareness. And again, eyes open or closed, you can look at the one behind Marie. And what do we know about the lotus flower? So, what we know is that the lotus flower is widely recognized as, if not one of the most beautiful bloom that is available to us on planet Earth to see visually. And one of the reasons that it is so beautiful is because it has this very long, thick root that goes down into the muck of the pond, of the swamp, of the murky bottom under the water. So we know the Thich Nhat Hanh quote, no muck, no lotus. So as you connect to your breath, imagine if you're sitting or standing, like maybe wiggle your root down into wherever you're sitting or your feet into where you're standing, and imagine the roots of the lotus as they must weave and press their way through the muck and all that rich hummus that it's sourcing. So feel yourself really rooted in the muck. And what comes to mind in your life experience and the art that is your life that is in alignment with the word muck? It could be just the muck of today, the muck of a past experience. Again, it's that time we've spent or are spending in different arenas of our life in that victim mentality, feeling less than, not enough, unworthy, being in abusive relationships, whether physical or emotional, feeling like the black sheep, going through physical dis-ease. This is the muck that is meant to nurture, to travel up from the muck. So imagine as you inhale, you're inhaling this energy that is the empowerment that can only come from facing fears, from transcending limiting beliefs, whatever you did to heal, to emerge from your underworld experiences. That's the juice, that's the wisdom. That's where you take on and reclaim more of your compassion, more love, more alignment, more courage. So breathe the gifts that were offered to you in the muck. Or maybe you're just now realizing the gifts, how you are wiser, how you are a more loving, compassionate person, partner, parent, and allow that energy to rise through your core, through your chakras, into your heart. Your heart wants you to feel gratitude for the time that you spent in those underworld, dark, shadowy, murky experiences. No muck, no lotus. You wanted to bloom in this lifetime. You wanted to bloom big. You didn't want to just be like a little buttercup that are popping up in my lawn. You wanted to be a big, huge lotus. So continue to allow the gifts, the wisdom. Maybe you can feel that energy transmuting into beautiful light or colors or a feeling or a sensation. And imagine it rising to the crown of your head and that 1,000 petal lotus opening. And each time a petal opens, a part of your authentic self, your truth, unfurls and becomes visible and expresses itself. So each time, even each time that in the day that we realize we have an opportunity to like take an email that was written wrong or to get offended or flip off a driver in traffic, right? And every time we choose to love, we choose to understand, we choose to be in compassion. Another one of these petals in the bloom that is your lotus opens. And then you can imagine yourself fully opened, just floating, relishing the coolness of the water and the sunshine on your skin, on your petals. This is the journey of life. It's not about being a lotus, coming down as a lotus, staying an open lotus, an open blossom. It's about the journey from the muck to the blossom. And may this image of the lotus flower, every time you see it, allow you to reclaim and remember and integrate more and more of your wisdom. So it is.
And so it is.
Mm.
Yes. So this, everyone, was not planned. As we were having our conversation, I received direct guidance that at this time we need to experience, the wisdom and channeling of Whitney. And then, I mean, look at this. I'm still feeling my, lotus petals opening, and I still feel myself floating on a pond and with so much light, right? And may you all always remember this experience you just had here and repeat it so that you will be reminded, so that you will remember
And
that.
this is the other power of the symbols. Like you can cut out or put on your screensaver. I have a big old lotus with a rainbow bridge headed to it on my screensaver right now. You can work with the symbol by keeping it in your visual presence, whether it's a screenshot, cutting it out of a magazine, drawing it with a ballpoint pen on a post-it note. I've done this before, you all, like sticking the post-it notes around my house, painting it at the canvas. This is why I paint. Like when something comes up and it comes up and it comes up and I can tell it's poking me, it wants my attention and it's helping guide me on my highest path. I go to the canvas to paint it. And as I paint it, I'm literally having a conversation. I'm getting the messages from the energy that's coming through this symbol. And it's incredibly powerful and magical. And it tunes you into this awareness that we are being guided all the time through our sense of vision. And the images that are constantly coming to you, like, wow, I'm seeing bears everywhere lately. Not everyone is seeing bears everywhere. You're seeing bears because there's a message for you. You're emerging from something. You are meant to be protective of something that is important to you. You will discover the messages as you interact with it. So you can do it in so many different ways, but like this is why I paint and this is why I offer this painting experience, because it is such a powerful conductor. Because not only are you tuning in at this level of awareness where you're intending to get the message from, these subtle realms, but you're also entering into that creative frequency. And then when you're in that creative frequency, it's way easier to change, to shift, to transform, because you're in the energy that only knows that. Right. So any resistance you have to painting or drawing, I mean, I don't really like to draw, frankly. So let's just say painting, right? This is one of the first things Maria and I connected on. I'm like, you don't have to paint, you don't have to draw, you're just playing with color. Go and play with color. You don't have to show anybody. It's not about product. It's about getting into that creative frequency and expanding. And everything changes when you do that.
Mm. And it does. I have seen it myself. And so I just wanted to thank Whitney for this powerful meditation that she guided us through. And also for reminding us that symbols have no baggage.
Mhm.
And guess what? No muck, no lotus.
No muck, no lotus.
So we don't have to shy away from, the spaces of us where we might feel like, we're less than, or where we might disappoint ourselves, right? So we can release these behaviors and patterns where we abandon ourselves, we hide ourselves, we shut ourselves up. And it's an invitation that this is the time to welcome all of us back within us. Yeah.
And
Mm.
it's so fun.
Yes, it is fun. It is fun.
Super fun.
Yeah. So we are getting close to, the end of our conversation that, I wish could keep going. I wanted to ask you if you have any message for humanity right now, any last words, any, you've shared so many practices, advice, and your own way of embodying the creative frequency. And is there anything more you would like to share with our audience?
Wow, I just had two big ones come to mind. I'll take the second one, since it seemed to be like, no, wait, me. Um, so one of the guiding teachings that I received in, it was around 2012, 12. I was shown how what we're all creating in each and every moment that is about as tangible as like this chair I'm sitting in is energy. With our thoughts and our ideas, every thought like boom pops out and becomes a part of our energetic landscape. And so taking that to the next level, it's not just our energetic landscape as individuals, it's our energetic landscape as the collective. So when we generate, create from within us the frequencies, the energy blocks is kind of how I see it, of fear, of judgment, of what, let's just say fear, keep it at that. That fear goes into the collective, and that fear will exist until someone basically takes that fear and transmutes it back into love. So every time we honor the energy of fear, like, oh, I could be afraid of this, or I could choose to see this as something here to help us, like sour nasty medicine, know um please choose the medicine. Okay, because when we do that, somehow, some way, this is here to guide us. When we do that, what we're doing is we're adding into that energetic collective hope and possibility rather than fear. And that makes a ginormous difference. And you can just imagine like this world that we're wanting to experience, it's one based in love, has to happen once we have transmuted, taken all that fear out of the collective, that 4D, whatever you want to call it. We take the fear out that has been created by humanity and transmute it into love. That's when this happens. So that can feel a little overwhelming. And we can all do our part. And it's understanding that while the news headlines may be painting this doom and gloom, the reality is we have the answers to every single question. We have the solutions to every single problem. And once we choose to focus on those solutions rather than the problems,
Mm.
right? Like that's the journey. So thank you for consciously understanding the energy that you're generating and allowing it to be energy that serves us all.
Mm. Aho, may it be so. I love that. I
Thank
love this, choosing the medicine, even that little shift when there's fear, frustration, it's like, ooh, what is the medicine? Right? Right away. That will change your life. Thank you so much for, drawing this map for us here at Keepers of Humanity. I know that you have a gift for our audience. Can you
you.
tell us a little bit
And I
about
don't remember what gift I told you, but here's the gift I want to offer. And of course, I'll make sure you have this link. But I have a course called Your Magical Creative Awareness. And it takes the Stephen Covey, the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, and matches it up with a chakra and matches it up with a limiting slash empowering belief and then a symbol. And I offer a simple painting session for you to create that symbol into reality to help you to understand where you get stuck, which again, muck and stuck. It's all good. Recognize where you get stuck. We all get stuck. And then allow the symbol to come in and add the complementary energy so you can allow that stuckness to lead to yet another petal unfurling. So there will be a link there, and it's a really fun, easy way to test what I've been saying. Like, okay, Whitney Freya, this sounds pretty good. I'm skeptical. Great. Go into your magical creative awareness and give it a try. And I can't wait to be in conversation with you when you comment below the lessons.
Thank you so much for your generosity of time, of energy, of wisdom, of channeling. Whitney Freya, my friend and soul sister, thank you so much for coming here at Keepers of Humanity.
Always, of course, forever, Marie.
And thank you, all of you listeners, for taking the time to really commit to your growth, transformation, and evolution. Thank you.